Is this a sign, Jordan, do you think? I felt that there is a movement going on now of a real backlash.
That was Piers Morgan and Jordan Peterson discussing a subtle shift taking place at award shows in Hollywood in general that nobody seems to be talking about. Welcome to Nerk News. I'm Nerkish. We're nearing the end of award season, and in many ways, it was like every other year except one. Today, we're taking a few minutes to break down a recent trend in Hollywood that might be a turning point in the culture.
Watch the whole thing for 3 hours. No political speeches, no virtue signaling, no grandstanding. People basically did what Ricky Gervais told them to do 3 years ago, which is get up, thank your agent, and sit down and just celebrate making movies or TV shows. Is this a sign, Jordan, do you think? I felt that there is a movement going on now of a real backlash from perhaps a majority that's been silent till now, that's just said enough, and that even Hollywood has woken up to the reality that people who watch the movies and TV shows, they don't want to hear this stuff all the time.
That's absolutely right. We've been collectively shouting this from the rooftops for decades, and it seems like maybe, just maybe, it's finally starting to sink in with the elites. You remember during Me Too, the 15-minute moral lectures they were giving us about their own industry? Something they created and were complicit in? And you remember during the riots, all the political grandstanding they were doing? There was virtually none of that this year.
Well, we put politics first and foremost, and partly the reason we did that was because any higher aims in some ways collapsed. I suppose that's part and parcel of the famous death of God. If what's highest spiritually and transcendentally disappears, then something else steps up to take its place. And in our society, that's either been a nihilistic bent that's very powerful or politicking in general. The mistake that entertainers make is that they regard what they do as mere entertainment. Hollywood stars and all the people who were involved in producing the narratives that entice and compel us, they're serving a master who's far higher than anything merely political. And when they bend their art to serve a political master, they distort the higher to the lower to their own detriment. The art should never be subordinated to serve the political, because then it gets, not only does it get propagandistic, it gets dull and contemptible. No one cares what a star thinks about Trump, especially when what they have to say about Trump can be said just as coherently by your demented neighbor.
Exactly. And I think it's because the notion of celebrity died the instant they started using social media. Celebrities used to keep their private lives private and their opinions to themselves. They even had managers who handled their personal life and public image. It was part of being a celebrity because they're a product, and the best way for them to sell themselves is to appeal to a broad audience and let their talent do the talking. But now, you can go on Twitter and see every idiotic thing a celebrity thinks. You can get in a 3-hour argument with Mark Hamill about the Second Amendment or the border if you want. And who's going to want to enjoy Star Wars after that? The fact of the matter here is celebrities don't sell movies anymore. They don't put butts in seats. People are tired of their hollow performative nonsense that they do all the time. We see through the act. You remember the blowback from all that "we're in this together" stuff they were doing during COVID? I mean, there's seriously something wrong when people who play pretend for a living think their opinions are more moral than others. They're confusing talent with wisdom, and it's finally starting to bite them in the butt a bit. But let me know what you think. Is the waning relevance of corporate media in Hollywood a turning point in the culture war, or are they just simply going to adapt and come back in a different form? Let me know in the comments. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Boy!